What really happened when Los Angeles erupted in chaos? Stay tuned as we dive into the shocking anti-ICE protests that turned violent, shook the city, and made headlines across America. If you want the real story behind the viral footage, you're in the right place. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking news and trending stories from LA and beyond. On June 9th, 2025, Los Angeles awoke to a city forever changed. The sun rose over empty streets, but the silence was heavy, charged with the memory of the night before. The city, known for its relentless energy and diversity, now felt tense and uncertain, as if holding its breath for what might come next. Smoke still hung over downtown, drifting between skyscrapers, a stark, lingering reminder of the chaos that had erupted over the weekend. The air was thick, not just with haze, but with a sense of unease and anticipation. Burnt-out cars lined the streets, their charred frames a testament to the intensity of the protests. Graffiti, bold and defiant, covered walls and storefronts, denouncing President Trump's immigration policies and demanding justice for those affected. The catalyst for this unrest was clear: aggressive ICE raids that tore through immigrant neighborhoods in the dead of night. Families were separated, children watched as loved ones were taken, and entire communities were left shattered, their trust in the system broken. What began as peaceful human chains in Westlake and Paramount, neighbors linking arms in solidarity, quickly grew into a city-wide movement. People from all walks of life joined together, united by the belief that Los Angeles was a sanctuary worth defending, a place where everyone deserved to feel safe. Social media became a powerful amplifier, spreading the call to action far beyond the city's borders. Live streams and viral posts drew thousands more into the streets, turning local outrage into a national conversation. #LA protests, #ICE raids, #breaking news. As federal agents escalated their response, the mood shifted. Tensions rose, and what started as peaceful protests soon gave way to anger, confrontation, and moments of violence. The city's streets became a battleground between those demanding change and those determined to maintain order. The spark ignited in immigrant communities now threatened to consume the city itself, as unrest spread from neighborhood to neighborhood, leaving Los Angeles at a crossroads, its future uncertain, its people determined to be heard. For more exclusive updates and in-depth coverage, make sure you're subscribed. To truly grasp the turmoil that gripped Los Angeles, you first have to understand the complex role ICE plays and what it means for a city that has long prided itself on being a sanctuary. Los Angeles isn't just a sprawling metropolis, it's a patchwork of cultures, languages, and dreams where nearly 1 in 3 residents was born outside the United States. The city's sanctuary identity isn't just a policy, it's a promise, a statement that LA stands as a place of refuge and hope for those seeking a better life. If you care about #immigration, #sanctuary cities, or #Los Angeles, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more in-depth coverage. But under the Trump administration, ICE's mission changed dramatically. What was once a focus on targeting serious criminals quickly expanded into sweeping mass detentions, casting a shadow of fear over entire neighborhoods. Suddenly, everyday routines, walking to school, shopping for groceries, waiting for the bus, became fraught with anxiety for thousands of families. The threat wasn't just theoretical, it was visible, with ICE agents patrolling streets and knocking on doors, leaving communities on edge. What would you do if this happened in your neighborhood? Let us know in the comments below. LA's sanctuary policies, like the landmark Special Order 40, were designed to foster trust between law enforcement and immigrant communities. The goal was simple: encourage cooperation, not fear. But these very policies, meant to protect, now seem to invite federal crackdowns, putting the city's values to the test. If you support #community trust and #human rights, share this video to spread awareness. The latest ICE raids were unprecedented in scale and ambition, aiming to detain thousands of people each day. No neighborhood was spared, from the bustling streets of South LA to the quieter corners of the valley. Even prominent community leaders, like Union President David Huerta, found themselves targeted, sending a chilling message that no one was truly safe. If you think this story needs to be heard, comment "Defend LA" below. For many Angelenos, these raids felt like more than just an attack on undocumented immigrants. They were an assault on the very heart of Los Angeles. The city's core values of diversity, inclusion, and compassion were suddenly under siege, turning a debate over immigration into a battle for LA's soul. Stay tuned for more stories on #civil rights and #social justice. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Protesters took to the streets not only to defend their undocumented neighbors, but to stand up for the idea that Los Angeles should remain a place of welcome and belonging. Rallies, vigils, and community gatherings became acts of resistance, as people from all walks of life came together to say, "This is our city, and we will not let fear define it." What does sanctuary mean to you? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the conversation. The raids forced Los Angeles to confront a difficult question: could its sanctuary ideals survive a direct federal assault? City leaders debated, police and protesters faced off, and the entire community was drawn into a struggle over what kind of city LA would be in the face of adversity. If you value in-depth reporting on #current events, give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. The answer played out in the streets, where chants echoed through the night, banners waved defiantly, and fires burned, not just as a sign of anger, but as a symbol of a city fighting to protect its soul. For more powerful stories on immigration, activism, and the future of Los Angeles, subscribe now and join our community. Your voice matters. Let's keep the conversation going. What happens when hope collides with outrage? The protests in Los Angeles exploded from peaceful vigils into high-stakes, high-tension confrontations almost overnight. What started as a passionate call for justice and reform quickly spiraled into a dramatic showdown. Demonstrators versus law enforcement. The city's streets transformed into a battleground. Are you ready to witness how a movement can ignite a city? On Friday, the city glowed with candlelight vigils, powerful symbols of unity and hope. People from every background gathered outside detention centers, their faces illuminated by the soft flicker of candles. Can you imagine standing shoulder to shoulder with strangers, united by a single cause? The atmosphere was somber, yet filled with determination for real change. But by Saturday, everything changed. Viral images and shocking videos of federal force spread like wildfire across social media, fueling outrage and mobilizing thousands. How much power do you think social media has to spark real-world action? The movement surged into new neighborhoods, gaining unstoppable momentum and urgency. The protests escalated from silent witness to bold resistance. Marches blocked freeways and major intersections, disrupting daily routines and demanding the city's attention. Would you join a protest that shuts down your city's streets for a cause you believe in? By Sunday, the tipping point was undeniable. Tens of thousands surged into downtown Los Angeles, their frustration and anger boiling over. The city was electrified, streets overflowing with chants, banners, and a sense of urgency that could not be contained. Have you ever witnessed a crowd so massive it felt unstoppable? As the hours passed, chaos erupted. Protesters hurled rocks and debris at police in riot gear, while the LAPD formed tense lines to hold them back. The declaration of unlawful assembly only intensified the chaos. Confusion and fear rippled through the crowds. What would you do in the middle of such turmoil? The city burned, vehicles set ablaze, Molotov cocktails lighting up the night, thick smoke and tear gas choking the air. The dream of peaceful protest was shattered, replaced by scenes of destruction and desperation. Los Angeles reached a breaking point. Neighbors who once stood together in hope now found themselves caught in chaos, their voices drowned out by sirens and shouts. How does a community recover from such pain? The escalation was impossible to ignore. The world was watching. Los Angeles had become a symbol of the global fight for justice and change. If you want to stay updated on stories that matter, don't forget to hit that notification bell and join the conversation below. What would you have done if you were there? Quick recap. After days of protests and civil unrest in Los Angeles, the situation escalated rapidly. The chaos prompted President Trump to bypass California's governor and deploy 2,000 National Guard troops to LA, sparking a wave of hash-breaking news and #National Guard trending across social media. Humvees and armed soldiers appeared downtown, transforming the city into a militarized zone. For many, the sight of American troops confronting citizens was deeply unsettling. This rare federalization of the Guard marked a dramatic escalation in the standoff between Trump and California. The White House called it necessary to restore order. Critics called it executive overreach. #executive order #federal power. The administration painted protesters as agitators, justifying the military response. #protesters #police clash. The city now faced not just civil unrest, but an armed standoff with the federal government. What do you think about the National Guard's deployment in LA? Drop your thoughts and join the conversation in the comments below. #lay protests #your opinion matters. Downtown LA became a battleground. Rocks, rubber bullets, fire and tear gas filled the air as anti-ICE protests in Los Angeles escalated into chaos. Protesters used the city itself as a weapon, building barricades and launching scooters at police, turning the Los Angeles streets into a war zone. Law enforcement responded with horses, riot shields and volleys of non-lethal munitions, intensifying the violent protests in LA. Tear gas sent crowds fleeing, while acts of violence, burned vehicles, Molotov cocktails and a motorcycle attack underscored the chaos of the Los Angeles protests. Dozens were injured and arrests mounted as the violence escalated. If you want to stay updated on breaking news in Los Angeles and see exclusive footage from the front lines, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell now. Journalists, too, were caught in the crossfire, their injuries broadcast worldwide, highlighting the dangers of covering LA protests live. The city's struggle was now global news, a metropolis at war with itself, and the world was watching the Los Angeles protest violence unfold. The fight for LA's future was being waged in the streets. Coming up next, we'll reveal exclusive interviews with protest leaders and never-before-seen footage from inside the chaos, so don't go anywhere. As violence raged in Los Angeles, keywords like protests, ICE, federal-state conflict, and political divide dominated headlines, while a political war erupted between President Trump and Governor Newsom. Trump labeled protesters as insurrectionists, blaming Newsom for the chaos and even suggesting his arrest. The debate over law enforcement, immigration, and civil unrest intensified. Newsom accused Trump of manufacturing the crisis for political gain, announcing a lawsuit over the federalization of the Guard. The clash highlighted deep divisions over immigration and state rights. Mayor Karen Bass urged calm, trying to de-escalate while supporting the state's defiance. The city's leadership faced mounting pressure from all sides. The conflict drew international attention, with Mexico's president calling for due process for detained nationals. Global eyes were now on LA. The rhetoric was fierce, but the stakes were real. A battle over power, narrative, and the future of federal-state relations. How do you think this political divide will shape the future of protests and immigration policy in America? The crisis was no longer just about LA, it had become a national flashpoint. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates on breaking news and in-depth analysis. Imagine living every day in fear. This was the reality for LA's immigrant communities as chaos unfolded. Parents kept their kids home, businesses closed down, and normal life came to a standstill. #community lockdown #family. First, over 200 people were detained by ICE, leaving families heartbroken and futures uncertain. #stop the raids. When union leader David Huerta was arrested while documenting a raid, it sent shockwaves through the activist community. #justice for all. The raids tore apart tight-knit communities, especially among indigenous Zapotec families, leaving scars that may never heal. The economic and emotional toll was massive, as fear kept people trapped inside their own homes. #mental health matters protests erupted, fighting for justice but also bringing more disruption and uncertainty to daily life. #protest for change. The true cost: fear, separation, and broken trust. Have you or someone you know been affected by these events? Share your story in the comments below. Your voice matters. #share your story. The LA crisis is the epicenter of America's polarized immigration debate, highlighting keywords like federalism, civil rights, and public opinion. Trump's hardline policies, mass raids, and a new travel ban reflect a broader national strategy focused on border security and enforcement. Public opinion is sharply divided. Some support mass deportations for national security, while others emphasize the human cost and advocate for immigrant rights. The standoff between Trump and Newsom is a high-stakes test of federal versus state power, with California asserting its status as a sanctuary state. California's resistance to federal immigration enforcement has become a defining national conflict, raising questions about states' rights and the limits of federal authority. The outcome could reshape the balance of power, set legal precedents, and influence future immigration crises. In summary, the LA protests encapsulate the nation's struggle over immigration, state versus federal authority, and the values that define America. What do you think? Comment below with your thoughts on immigration policy, state rights, and the future of America's identity. As LA faces another tense day, the future remains uncertain, but hope is on the horizon. More protests are planned, and while the National Guard's presence raises the risk of further violence, it also highlights the urgent need for unity and understanding in Los Angeles. Legal battles over executive power and states' rights are just beginning, shaping the future of justice and democracy in LA. The city's trust in law enforcement is badly damaged, and fear lingers in immigrant neighborhoods, but resilience runs deep in LA's diverse communities. Healing will take time and effort from leaders and residents alike, but every act of kindness and solidarity brings Los Angeles closer to recovery. LA's identity as a city of reinvention is being tested as never before, but its spirit of innovation and hope endures. The questions raised by this conflict will outlast the smoke and headlines, shaping conversations about immigration, justice, and community for years to come. As a new day dawns over Los Angeles, the city's story is still being written by its people, its leaders, and by you. If you found this coverage insightful, please like, share, and subscribe for more updates on Los Angeles news, community resilience, and the ongoing fight for justice. Your voice matters. Join the conversation and help shape LA's future.